Hey folks, it's Monday. It's time for Monday Motivation. And before we get into today's video, just gonna clear my throat. I just had some chocolate before I turn the camera on, so it's stuck in my throat. Anyway, before we start, I just wanted to do a check-in. How y'all doing today? How was this last week / weekend? Is that a thing still? For those that are parents, how's it going with being at home with your kids and potentially trying to work? For those that are working on the front lines, as we're all saying, and I mean it with all sincerity, thank you for what you're doing. How's it going with your family? For those that might be teachers, how's it going without having students, or trying to figure out how to stay connected to your students, or trying to figure out how to continue to teach your students? How's that going? For those that are maybe like me and that are single or don't have a partner and are physically distancing by yourself, how is that going? I would love to hear from you in the comments below if you feel like sharing. Just give you an update on myself. I just finished my 6th week of physical distancing, and I'm starting to understand how this is one of the ways that I can help is by staying home. People keep saying that, but this week is the first week where I got it, of by me being home, I'm one less person in the world that could potentially get the disease and then spread it to someone else. And so I'm definitely been staying home. Plus, I don't mind it. As much of an extrovert as I am, I'm also an introvert, and I like this. Plus, I haven't been home this long in 10 years. So I'm also feeling like I'm starting to lean into what this new normal is, and starting to realize and come back to life and feel a bit more like I have capacity to give now and to give back. So I've been trying to find ways to do random acts of kindness. That was part of my homework this week for this class that I'm taking online called The Science of Wellbeing, is to do some random acts of kindness. So right now I have the ability to donate to specific projects that are important to me, like the Trevor Project, which is a hotline and an incredible organization that supports LGBTQ plus 2S folks, specifically during this time, who maybe had to go back to homes that aren't safe, or having to go to places where their identity isn't being recognized as they would prefer it to be. So I think there's a lot going on. So I've been trying to give back in those regards. And I had a friend who I've been working with on some coaching things, and I wanted to do something nice for her. So we were talking about a book, and I just ordered it and sent it to her house. So there's lots of ways that we can give back, and I'm starting to feel like that. So I'm starting to feel like I'm coming back to life a little bit, which is good. And what I wanted to do with our time today is to just, because I'm feeling so good, to share some feel-good stories with you. Also, side note, did any of you watch Global Citizen over the weekend? Saturday, they did this 2-hour special, and they did a whole thing throughout the day, but they did a 2-hour special, which was in North America, was on every major network in the United States and in Canada, which to my knowledge, that's never happened before. Look at all the networks coming together, playing nice. I'm assuming that's what happened. Anyway, it was gorgeous, and it was just an event to celebrate all the work that the frontline workers, whether that's healthcare workers or people that are still in providing essential services, to thank them. And it was just a star-studded event. All of my favorites: Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, Elton John, Beyonce, Billie Eilish, Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello did a great duet together, and then they closed out the show with Lady Gaga, Andrea Bocelli, Celine Dion, and John Legend singing The Prayer, which is a gorgeous song to begin with. So if you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend you check it out, and you know how to Google, you can figure out how to find it. But again, I want to jump back into, so today I want to just do some feel-good stories. Some of these stories you might have heard before, but I think it's good for us to every now and then focus on the positive things when you can, and you feel like you're in a place where you can. So here we go. So here in Toronto in particular, a Toronto resident set up a website called Grocery Hero. And what this is the frontline workers, specifically healthcare workers, they're working around the clock and then having to go home, and when do they have time to buy groceries and things? So this Grocery Hero set up volunteers to be connected with specific healthcare workers, and then they shop for them, and they deliver their groceries either to their home or to where they're working, so that this is one less thing they have to worry about for themselves or for their families. And I thought that was really nice. So have you heard about Jeff Lyons from Indiana, the meteorologist? So he was doing weather broadcasts from his living room at home in front of a green screen, and an unexpected partner decided to join him in doing the weather. His cat Betty interrupted quite loudly, I might add, and wanted some attention. So he picked the cat up and was sort of petting the cat while he continued to do the weather. Everyone lost their minds in the best way, and they want to see Betty and wanted to keep getting updates on Betty. So he's been including Betty in a lot of his forecasts, which I thought was really nice. Truthfully, I'm more of a dog person than a cat person. All the cats that I've known have been kind of bitchy. But I love this story. I think it's cool, and I just love the power of animals and companionship that they can bring. A couple other stories. So there are tons of examples of community-based acts of kindness that are happening around the world, like delivering groceries and checking on the elderly and reading stories online and all the things. And they're calling it caremongering, which I thought was so cool. So in Canada alone, 30,000 people had signed up for online local caremongering to just provide support in whatever way was necessary. And I think this is a really cool idea as well. So for those that are maybe looking for a way to get involved, search caremongering in your community. And if you don't have a caremongering group, maybe you can start one. So I just thought this was really nice. In Spain, and this is a bit of an older story, but I just love it so much that I wanted to tell again in case you haven't heard it yet. There was a fitness instructor that wanted to teach a class, and so he basically stood on the roof of his building and got everyone to come out and teach the class and teach a class so everybody could exercise. And it was just really cool to see the video, and I'll include it a clip, or you know what I mean, a link down below. And then there's also a man in France, and I'm going to try to pronounce his name, but it's probably not great. Elisha Nochomovitz. So Elisha ran a marathon on his balcony. That's 42.2 kilometers, and his balcony is 7 meters long, so it's not huge. But he wanted to do a tribute to medical workers and to thank them for all the work that they were doing. So I thought that was a cool one. And the last one, some of you might have heard this one already, but it has been my favorite story so far. So Tom Moore, out of the UK, he is a war veteran, and he's going to be turning 100. And so he wanted to raise £1,000 to donate to NHS, which is the National Health Services in the UK, and just to provide some financial support in that regard to thank them for all that they're doing. And how he was going to do this is he was going to do 100 laps around his garden with his walker. I'm going to repeat, he's 99 years old, about to turn 100. And he wanted to do 100 laps around his garden. Well, this story blew up. And the last time that I checked, he'd actually raised over 18 million pounds. So I'd say he's far surpassed his goal. And I just think that's so inspiring that people are doing what they can with the things that they can do physically and personally to give back in some way. If you've been watching my Instagram stories, some folks that I live in a condo and across the building across from me, they've been putting signs in their windows, and I know this is not new for most people, but this is new for me. And someone wrote my favorite quote from Finding Nemo: 100% just keep swimming. Folks, we're going to continue to meet every Monday and just chat, and I'm going to tell you some things that I'm learning or whatever, but I hope you all are doing okay. And if you're not doing okay, you're not alone. We're all just continuing to try to figure this out together. But I hope, this few minutes a day, every Monday, will help distract you from things. And again, today we focused on good news stories. So that's it for today. As always, you're my new best friend. Call me every 5 minutes. Bye.